So, okay. So what we have done is in the last class, custom validations. And in custom validations, we have seen field level validation. So this is how you are trying to do field level validation. And even I said, what is a DJANGO widget is. So it doesn't provide all the input types. So in order to apply some input types, you take the help of which one? Widgets. Okay, these are the widgets which can be applied to the fields, right? I said this is a character field, but if you want to convert this character field into password field, then you are trying to use the widget called which one? Password input. Okay. Yeah, these are the things what we have seen in the last class. And here, now here you have a, so flag we used here. Flag is a true. If the flag is a true, you are sending form. If the flag is a false, you are reading the data and then you are registering it, and then you are sending one blank form. Otherwise, you are trying to send which form here? Error form. Okay. So here we are handling both the requests. Actually, both the requests you are handling it by using one view. Here we are handling both the requests. Both the request means now here you are trying to handle two requests. In this example, you are handling how many requests? Two requests. Okay, generally here we are handling both the requests using one method. And what is that method we used? Get method. So generally, now you have a two request methods. Now we'll be talking about this so that we can avoid using that flag. Okay, because you people are having a lot of confusion on what flag. Okay, because I'm handling both the requests using one request method. Because of that, I try to use what? Flag. So here we'll try to avoid using flag. Okay. So further, now you have HTTP. Now these are request methods. In HTTP request methods, you can send a request to the view by using two methods. In this case, one is a get method and one more is what? Post method. You can send a request by using two methods. One is a get method and one more is a post method. So what is the difference between the get method and post method? So what is the difference between the get method and post method, and when to use a get method and when to use a post method? Okay. So let me tell you about first the request method called get. So there is a request method called get. So get is a request. Okay, get is a request. Okay, get is a request, or get is a request method. Get is a request method. Use it to read information from what? Server. Get means what here? Read. So get is nothing but what? Read. So get is a request method used to read information from the server. Okay, and default request method. So default request method is the default request method is okay, default request method is get. What is the default request method? If you don't give that request method, any request method, how the request is sent to the view? By using get method. Okay, if you don't give the request method, what is the default request method it uses? Get method. Example is, for example, you type URL. When you type URL and press enter, When you type URL and press enter in the browser, you open the browser. If you open the browser and if you type the URL here, if you type the URL, suppose www.python.org. If I type this URL and press enter, how the request is sent by using which method? Get method. If we click on this, the request is sent by using which method? Get method. If we click on the hyperlink, now this is one hyperlink. If we click on this hyperlink, how the request is sent by using which method? Get method. How the request is sent by using which method? Get method, right? So get is a request. Okay, what is a get is request? It is a request to read information from what? Server. It is not for writing the information, it is used for reading information. So when you type URL and press enter, okay, in the browser, enter within browser, that request is called which one? Get request. Or if you click on, if you click on which one? Hyperlink. If you click on hyperlink, so clicking on hyperlink, click on hyperlink is also called which request? Get request. Not only that, if you submit the form, if you submit the form without representing any request method, or if you write the request method is get, okay, what is the default? Or if you don't write even request method, even if you don't write the request method, what is the default request method is get only. If you don't write the request method, it is a default request method is what? Get. But get is not for reading information, get is for writing the information, right? So what is the default form method is get. So in get method, suppose if you are sending a data using get method, example is like reading, okay, reading employees data. Reading whose data? Employees data is called as which method here? Get method. Reading employees data is called which method? Get method. So when you go for a get method is, you go for a get method where a server doesn't do any changes. A server doesn't do any changes. In that case, you go for which method? Get method. So a request where it doesn't do any changes at which side? Server side. Reading the employee details, reading the product details, reading one page or template. So all these methods are called which methods? Get methods. So get is a request to read information from the server, not to do any changes at which side? Server side. Not to do any changes at what? Server side. It is a request method only to read. But what will happen if you send data using request method get? In request method get, in request method get, okay, data is sent by concatenating, by concatenating, okay, by concatenating with what here? URL. Whatever data you send it, okay, whatever data you send, the data is sent by concatenating with the URL. Whenever you send a data, yes, just here. Okay. So whenever you send data, the data is sent by concatenating with the URL. So if I click on this, now this request method is what again? Get. I click on this hyperlink, right? If I click on this hyperlink, this request method is what? Get. This request method is what here? Get. Now here, I just click on register. I click on register. Now you can see in the server side, what is the request method is? Get. Now you are sending a request by using get method to which one? Register. You are sending a request by using get method to what? Register. Register. What is register here? URL. Register is a URL. Okay. Now you are sending a request using which method here? Get method. So it is read this. And after this, I'll try to send a data. Okay. I try to submit the data by giving username and password and click on register. When I click on register, even the request is sent to what? One view. And what is the view? It is sending request register. But how the data is sent to the register by using which method? Get method. And to this register, how the data is sent by concatenating with what? URL. It is concatenated with the URLs here. What data is concatenated with the URL? Okay. So in request method get in request method get in request method get in request method get data is sent by concatenating with what? URL. It allows to send only plain text. It allows to send data as what? Plain text. Only plain text means it is visible. Whatever data you are sending, it is visible on the URL. Whatever text you are sending, whatever data you are sending, all this data is visible on what? URLs here. Is it this data is visible or not? Yes. Whatever data you are sending it, this data is visible on what? URL. You can see username, password, and confirm password. Is it this data is visible or not? Yes. So whatever data you are sending it, this data is visible on what? URL. Okay. It means you can send only a plain text, but you cannot send binary data. It allows to send only it allows to send only what here? Plain text. But doesn't allows, okay, does not allows or doesn't allows which data here? Binary data. Like I want to send images, I want to send audio files, I want to send what here? Video files. Now this data you cannot send it by using which request? Get request. By using this you cannot send this data by using get request. So get is used, okay, get is used to read information from server, okay, but not to write information to server. Write to information to server means where server do some changes, where server do some changes, where server do some changes. Now this request you should not send it by using which method? Get method. For example, you want to insert the data, inserting data, updating data, deleting data. Okay, these operations you do it not by using which method? Get method. You do these operations by using which method? Post method. You do these operations by using which method? Post method. Inserting, updating, deleting. Okay, these operations you do it by using post method. And get is a request. Get is not secured. Why? Because whatever data you are sending it, whatever data you are sending it, it is visible on what? URL. Whatever data you are sending it, it is visible on the URL. URL bar, it is there, right? It is there on the URLs here. Is it password is visible? Okay, is it confirm password is visible? Yes, because you can see that data on what? URL. So it is not secured. Now secured information cannot send using which method? Get method. And large amount of data cannot send using which method? Get method. Because of length of the URL, because of length of what here? URL length is restricted. URL length is restricted. Maximum length of URL is some 2000 characters. Maximum length of URL is how many characters here? 2000 characters. Okay, now this URL length, how much, what is the length of this particular URL? How much length I can give? Maximum I can give 2000 characters. If it is more than 2000 characters, it will truncate. Means you may lose the data. You may lose what? data. So you cannot send the large amount of data using which method? Get method. Why? Because maximum length of the URL is how many characters? 2000 characters. So all these are the points which belongs to which method? Get method. So when to use a get method? You use a get method only reading. But using get method also you can write it. But you cannot write large amount of data. You cannot write secured data. You cannot write large amount of data. You cannot write which data? Secured data. But if you want to write where you want some changes to be done at which side? Server side. Then use another request method called what? Post. Okay, post, the name itself, right? Post means writing. Get means what here? Reading. Post means writing. Get means what here? Reading. So where you want server should do remember or server should do some changes. Where server will do some changes. Like when you're saying insert data, server is doing some changes. Updating password means server is doing some changes. Deleting user means it is doing some changes. In that case, you go for which method? Post method. So post is a request method. Okay, post is a request method. Request. Post is a request method used to write data to what here? Server. It means where server do some changes. Where server do some changes. Changes means what? Example is okay, all crude operations. Okay, like what is that here? Inserting data. So it is nothing but updating. Okay, inserting data, updating data, and one more is what? Deleting. So these operations you do it by using which method? Post method. But can you do these operations using get method? Yes. You can also do these operations by using which method? Get method. But is it get method is secured or not secured? Not secured. Okay, get method is not secured. And the thing what you do it using get method, you can do it by using which method? Post method. The thing which you do it using post method, that you can do it by using which method? Get method. Okay, so that is inserting, updating, and what is that? Deleting. But in request method get, in request method post, in request method post, data is sent as a part of request body. The data is sent as a part of request body. In request method post, data is sent as a part of request body. It is not visible. It is not visible on URL bar. You cannot see this data on URL bar. URL bar. You cannot see here. In request method post, you cannot see here. The data is sent as a part of which one? Request body. It means data is sent securely, encrypted. It will encrypt the data and send it. Okay. So in request method post, data is sent as a part of request body. It is not visible. It is not visible. It is not visible on what? URL bar. It is not visible on URL bar. It is sent as a part of request body. It is sent as a part of request body, right? So, and it allows to send, large amount of, it allows to send large amount of data. You can send a large amount of data by using the request method what? Post. It allows to send a large amount of data and secure data can be sent because I say no, it is not visible on URL bar. Means it is not sent by concatenating with what? URL. Okay, right? So this is where you can find the difference between the get method and what? Post method. So there is no restriction on length of the data, right? Yes. But whenever you are sending a request method using a post, example is you have to define the request method explicitly when you're submitting the form. So form method. Okay, what is a request method is here? Post. But here if I don't write a request method is, okay, then what is the default request method is? Get. So here I said form method equal to post. It means whenever you send the request by using which method? Post method, then you have to send the data in secured format. Secured format means whatever data you send it, it should provide security. It should provide security. So for that, now Django provide predefined security mechanism. Now, whenever you are sending a data by using a method called post, you have to include one token. You have to include one token. What is the name of the token is CSRF. Okay, CSRF, what is that token? Okay, what is this CSRF token is? CSRF stands for cross-site request forgery. CSRF stands for what? Cross-site request forgery. What is the meaning of cross-site request forgery? Cross-site request forgery means, for example, forgery means you should understand. Okay, for example, your sign can be forged, your signature can be forgery, right? Your signature can be forgery or not? Yes or no? Your signature can be forgery or not? Yes, sir. Okay. Now, what is a cross-site request forgery is? What is cross-site request forgery is? Okay, for example, you are sending data. Okay, you are sending data. For example, you log in from, okay, for example, you log in using Facebook. Okay, you log in using Facebook or, okay, otherwise, now assume that this is one login page. Assume that this is one login page where you enter username and what? Password. Where you enter username and password. After giving username and password, it logins. It login. And after login, you'll get one link. Assume that you get one link. After login, you get one link. You get one link, and when you click on this link, okay, you'll get one page. I mean, it will switch from this particular page to what? Another website. It is moving from one website to what? Another website. It is moving from one website to another website. And in this website, okay, it is given similar type of it is given similar type of which one? Login again. It is given similar type of login again. It means it's saying that okay, please log in again. It is saying that please log in again. It means this particular login is what here? Forgery. Correct or not? Okay, it is asking to capture your details like username and what? Password. Sometimes what will happen, you'll get some dummy links. Sometimes you get some dummy links, right? Dummy links which is similar to what? Facebook. You get a dummy links which are similar to what? Gmail. It look like a Facebook or it look like what? Gmail, but it is not exactly a Facebook or what? Gmail. Now that can be avoided by using what here? A token. A token is nothing but it will generate one. It will generate one password. Token is nothing but a key. What is a token here? Key. Token is nothing but what here? Key. And whenever you are sending the data, it will try to verify the key. It will try to verify what? Key. Okay, who generate this key? Server will generate the key. And the same key is exchanged between the client and what? Server. The same key is exchanged between the client and server. Now that you can call it as which one? Cross-site request forgery. Forgery is nothing but now somebody can forger. Somebody can forge your website, right? Yes. Tell me here, what is your problem, Abhishek? What is the problem? Abhishek, your Sheikh, Sheikh. Sheikh means Sheikh. Abhishek. अभी बोले तो अभी, शेख बोले तो शेख है। अभिषेक, हाँ बोलो यार, अभी बोले तो क्या है, अभी बोल के। नो नो नो, व्हाट यू सेइंग? फॉर जेर्री, क्या है वो? जेर्री बोला मैं जेर्री बोल के बोला। हाँ, जेर्री बोल के बोला यार मैं। अभिषेक, अभी बोलो यार, अभी तुरंत, अभी बोले तो तुरंत, शेख बोले तो हिलना। अभी बोले तो तुरंत, शेख बोलते हिलना, यही है क्या? मैं क्या बोला यार? व्हाट आई सेड? Forgery means what I said? Is it my pronunciation is wrong? Wrong? I'm pronouncing wrong? Huh? Is it my pronunciation is wrong? I'll tell you. कुछ गलत सुना दिया है क्या? फोर जेर्री बोल के बोला मैं, फोर जेर्री बोल के बोला। हाँ? Did I say it like that? हाँ? Then ये फालतू क्या है? हाँ? कुछ फालतू लोग रहते हैं यार। हाँ? सुबह सुबह दिमाग खराब करते हैं। यस। क्या हुआ यार, कुछ प्रॉब्लम है क्या? कल कुछ हुआ क्या? रात में कुछ हुआ? अभिषेक, रात में कुछ हुआ? किधर गए रात में? फिर क्या हुआ यार? फिर क्या हुआ? व्हाट हैपेंड? रात में किधर, तो भी जाके आ गया क्या? If you start saying like this, I know how to deal it. Yes, I know how to deal the students, because आप लोग बहुत बच्चे लोग हैं यार। In teaching, what is my experience? 21 years. Your age is 21. My teaching experience is 21. Your age is 21. My experience is 21. Understood? पूरा गंदा कर दे तो मैं। हाँ, next time you should not come to the class. Understood? I handle lakhs of students. This is nothing. Understood? If you are trying to tell वो ये बोले तो, हाँ, मेरे को कट करना मालूम है, how to cut, how to paste, everything I know it. But generally I don't want to waste my time on false students. Understood? Okay. So that's the reason. Okay. Okay, what I said is cross site request forgery. CSRF stands for cross site request forgery. I said. Okay. Yes. Okay. Cross site means, what is the meaning of cross site? You are moving from one site to another site. In web development, you will be moving from one site to another site. When you move from one site to another site, there is a chance of reading your data. Okay, so the data should not be submitted as a plain text. It should be submitted as which text? Cipher text. Cipher text means what is a plain text? Plain text means readable text. Cipher text means cannot understand. But how you convert a plain text into a cipher text? By using what? Encryption. Use some encryption and what? Decryption. But for doing this encryption, what you required? What you required? Key. For encryption, what you required here? Key. You required one key. Now this key is nothing but what here? Token. This key is nothing but what here? Token. Understood? So who create this token? Or who create this token? Server. Who create this token here? Server. And this key is verified whenever you send a request to the server. Understood? Okay, that is called as CSRF token. Cross-site request forgery. Forgery. I said no. Your signature is there. Okay, you have one blank check. Blank check is there. Somebody find your blank check. But he can forgery your signature or not? Yes. Somebody find your blank check. Forgery means similar type or not? Yes. Similar type. Similar type. Now when you move from one website to, when you switch from one website to another website, see, suddenly what will happen is, even though you enter username and password is correct, okay, sometimes what will happen, it will ask you to enter again username and password. Means somebody came in between and given one dummy username and password. It look like same, where you enter username again, password. But that username password is sent to what? That site. Understood? So, but is it your data is sent in secured? Yes. But when you are sending data from one website to another website, then that should be sent by using what? Some token, right? So that you can call it as CSRF token. CSRF. CSRF stands for what? Cross-site request forgery. So compulsory you have to add this token. If you don't add this token, you cannot send a request using which method? Post method. You cannot send a request using which method? Post method. Hang on. You cannot send the request by using which method? Post method. Okay. So, but when you are sending a request using get method, you don't require to add CSRF token. Okay. But when you are sending a request method using post, compulsory you have to add this token. Okay. Inside the form. So why you have to add this inside the form? Because it will send the data by encrypting it. It will send the data by encrypting it. Now, whenever you are saying it is encrypt, and always the encryption is done by using one key. And that key is generated by whom? Server. That key is generated by what? Server. And send it to what here? Client. Key is generated by server and send it to what here? Client. Getting on it. Okay, then whenever you submit the form, it will submit the form to the server. And what server will verify is if this key is valid or not. If the keys are valid, then only it will read the request. Otherwise, it generates what? Error. Getting on not? Okay, then it will generate the error. So that you can call it as which one? CS or F. Who generate this token is server will generate the token. Token is nothing but key. Okay, token is nothing but what here? Key. Token is nothing but a key. right? Yes. Now, this is how you can send data securely by using what here? Encryption system. Okay, right? So this is an example of get a request and one more is what? Post request. Now, sometimes they may ask you, what is the difference between get and what? Post. So HTTP is having more than two methods. It is having total some seven methods are there. But here we are talking about only two methods. One is get and one more is post. But remaining methods we'll see when we move to REST API. But get is used for reading information, but post is for writing information. And get is a request where server will not do any changes, but post is a request where server will do some changes. And get is a request where the data is concatenated with the URL and send it to what? Server. It means you cannot send secured data because the data is visible on what? URL. And you cannot send the large amount of data because all the data is concatenated with what? URL. All the data is concatenated with the URL. And post is a request method used to write data to the server where server do some changes like doing some operations like inserting, updating and deleting. Using post method also you can read the data. Using post method also you can read the data. Suppose user login is there where you enter username and password, but you want this data to be sent securely. Then what you do it? You try to send it by using which method? Post method. Using post also you can read the data, right? But in request method post, the data is sent as a part of which one? Request body. It means the data is not visible on what? URL bar. It allows to send a large amount of data. So you can send any type of data, text data as well as what? Binary data. And whenever you are sending a request method using a post, compulsory you have to say form method equal to post. And whenever you are sending the data using a post method, compulsory you have to generate one token. And what is the token you are using? CSRF token. Now token is nothing but a key. Okay, token is nothing but what here? Key. And this is a key which is exchanged between the client and server. This is a key which is exchanged between the client and server. Understood? Okay, this is what exactly the difference between the get method and what? Post method. Okay, so it is a key which is required compulsory whenever clients submit the data. If that key is not available, then is it server identifies the request is come from the same client? No, server doesn't understand the request is come from the same client. Server doesn't understand the request is come from the same client. Understood? Okay, because you enter again username and password. When you send username and password, okay, what's your server is looking for? Key, but that key is not there. If the key is not there, is it allows to log in? No. If that key is not there, is it allows to log in? No, it doesn't allows to what? Log in. So it is looking for the key, and that key is generated by using this particular token. So that is how you can avoid cross-site request forgery. It means when you are talking about ethical hacking, right? You find, I mean, these hackers will try to hack, okay, by using different techniques. Okay, different techniques they'll use. Okay, like SQL injection. Okay, one is what? SQL injection. One more is what? CSRF. One is SQL injection and one more is what? CSRF. Means sometimes you'll get some links where you open the link and you submit what? Username and password. You submit the username and password. So is it that is a request is that request is correct request or wrong request? Wrong request. That is when you are moving from one website toward another website. Okay, right? Yes. Then next, let me handle this both. Let me handle this both because you have a lot of confusion here. In view, I handle both. I handle both. Both means handle which one? Get request. And this is what here? Post request. This is which request? Get request. And this is which request? Post request. But both are handled by using which request? Get request only. It means when I type the URL in the browser, when I type the URL in the browser, okay, that is the first time. Then what is the value of flag will be? The value of flag will be what? True. Then what it is giving? A form is giving. Which form is giving? Empty form. And after giving empty form, you enter the data. Are you entering the data or not? Yes. After entering the data, you click on which button? Submit button. Once you click on the submit button, what will happen? Once you click on the submit button, what will happen? Is it request is come to the same view or different view? Same view. Is it request is come to the same view or different view? Same view. Then what is the value of flag will be? False. If the flag is false, it will come to which block? Else block. It means you try to write the data. You try to write the data. Now form dot registration form. What is the request dot get? So whatever data is there in get dictionary, that data you are storing in which form? Registration form. And then you are checking, is it this data is valid or invalid? If it is a valid, then you are reading that clean data and you are saying registration is completed. Else, you are saying render request comma register.html and you are rendering which form? Error form. You are rendering which form? Error form within a register.html and you are sending a response. Okay, otherwise, if it is a valid, you are displaying the message at server side and again you are sending which form? Empty form. You are sending which form? Empty form you are sending it. So it means we are trying to handle both. We are trying to handle both get as well as what? Post. But instead of handling it by using a flag, I'm not using here flag. Now I try to use two request methods here. I'm not using a flag. I'm using a two request methods. One is a getter and one more is what? Post. One is a getter and one more is a post. I don't use here flag. Okay, instead of that, I'm handling it using how many methods? Two methods. One is a get method and one more is what? Post method. Let me tell you this. Okay, now there is a registration view. A registration view. And before this, just go to register.html and here you just write form request method equal to which one? Post. Whenever request method is a post, you have to submit the form by adding one token. What is that token is? CSRF token. You have to add one token called CSRF token. Compulsory, you have to add this because you are sending a request by using one key. You are sending a request by using one key. Now you can see CSRF token. Compulsory, you have to write within the form, right? So in the views.py, now here you are trying to check if request dot, what is it? Method. If request dot method, request is a object. HTTP request object. Request is which object? HTTP request object. What is this HTTP request object is having? What is this HTTP request object is having? Request is nothing but input or not? Yes. Whatever input is given by the client, that input is stored in which object? HTTP request object and send it to what here? View. Whatever input you are given, that input is stored in which object? HTTP request object and send it to what here? View. It is sent to view. And this request object is having one attribute. What is the name of the attribute here? Method. It is having one attribute called which one? Method. And this method can be either what? Getter. This method can be either what? Post. Okay. Now when you send a request first by typing URL, when you send a request first by typing what? URL, what is the request method will be? Get. What is the request method will be? Get. If the request dot method is get, what I have to do? I have to send one blank form. If the request method is a get, I have to send which form? Blank form. I have to create one blank form. Okay, if the request dot method, if the request dot method equal to what? Get. If the request dot method equal to what? Get. So what I'm doing? I'm creating one blank form. So form equal to what is that? Registration form. I created one blank form, and this form you render in what? Register dot HTML. You insert this form into what? Register dot HTML by saying response equal to request response equal to render. Okay, render. Okay, request comma. What is the name of the template? Register dot HTML. Register dot HTML, and this is a context parameters, and there is a context parameter called which one? Form. So form is a key, and here form object is what? Value. Now this form you are inserting into what? Templates here. You insert this form as what here? Table. You insert this form as a table. Now this is when if the request method is what? Get. Now return. I said here return. Okay, return what here? Response. Now when this is if the request method is what? If the request method is what? Get. So when the request method will be get, when you type the URLs here, what will happen is, okay, now you run the server here. So double equal. Okay, now here, now you click on this. Okay, now this is request method get only. Okay, now here I'm just typing slash. What is the name of the view? Register. Now you press enter, right? When you press enter, what will happen? It will send a request to which view? Register view. It will send a request to which view? Register view. This is which object? Request object. What is the request method is? Get. What is the request method is? Get. Okay, then it is creating one blank form or not? Yes, it create one blank form. Okay. Now you enter the data. Now what you are doing, you are entering the data username, and this is password, and this is confirm password. I've entered password as well as what? Confirm password, and click on which button? Register. When I click on register, what will happen? Is it request is sent to the same view or different view? Same view, but you are sending a request using which method? You are sending a request using which method? When you click on submit, you are submitting the form, right? How you are submitting the form? Using which method? Post method. You are sending a request using which method? Post method. In the previous class, we send a request using which method? Get method. Get. So that's the reason we have taken which one? Flag. That's the reason we have taken which one? Flag. But registration is nothing but what is the meaning of registration? Inserting data. Registering is nothing but what? Inserting data. Changing the password is nothing but updating the data. And deleting user is nothing but deleting data. Now all these requests where server is doing some changes or not? Yes. Then you have to send the request using which method? Post method. You have to send the request using which method? Post method. Okay. Now what will happen? What will happen? See here. What will happen if I press enter here? If I press enter, now the request is sent to which method? The request is sent to which view? Register view. But is it register view is handled or not handled? Not handled. Is it register view? Is it handled or not handled? Not handled. Not handled. Because here we handle only which method? Get method. Then come to which block now? Else block. So it is given one error here. The view application one dot views dot register view don't return HTTP response object. It is written what here? None. But what is the request method is post, and it is sending to which one? Register. But is it data is concatenated? No. In request method post, the data is not sent as a part of which one? URL. It is not concatenated with what? URL. It is sent as a part of which one? Request body. It is sent as a part of request body, but it is not send. It is not sent as a part URL. Right? Yes. Come to else block here. Come to else block. Okay, now this is else. Else means I can write here else if. Else if what is this? Request dot method double equal to which one? Post. If the request method is a post, what do you have to do? Tell me, if the request method is a post, what do you have to do? If the request method is a post, what do you have to do? You have to read the data. You have to read the data. You have to read the data. You are sending the data or not? Here you are submitting the data. You enter username, you enter password. After this, you click on what? Register. This data is sent to what? View. This view. It is sent to this view. Now tell me, is it request method is a get or post? Is it request method is get or post? If I click on register, this form is submitted or not? Yes, this form is submitted to the view. Tell me, is it request method is a get or post? If I click on register, this data is submitted by using which method? Yeah, request method, get a poster. Post. Post. See here, array. How you people become is very difficult here. Form method equal to what? Post. When you click on submit button, when you click on which button? Submit button. This data is submit to what? View. By using which method? Post method. Post method. Now tell me, is it request dot method equal to get a poster? Post. Then it will come to which block? Else block. It will come to which block? Else block. But when you type, first when you type here, when you type the URL slash, what I'm saying? Register. If I press enter, it will send a request to which view? Or if I click on this, if I press enter, it will send a request to which view? Register view. Then you are sending a request using which method? Get method. You are sending a request using which method? Get method. So what is the request method is? Get. Then it is giving which form? Blank form. It is giving which form? Blank form. Typing URL. Typing URL. Clicking on hyperlink. All these are what? Get method. Typing URL, clicking on hyperlink, all these are what? Get method. Now is it this request method is a get or post? Get. If I press enter here, then see here, it is displayed the form or not? Yes. Then in this form, you enter the data. In this form, you enter the data, and after giving the data, when you click on register, what will happen? This data is submitted or not? Yes, it is submitted to same view or different view? Same view. But this time, is it request method is a get or post? Post. Then it will come to which block? Else block. Understood? So post means we are doing insertion. Post means we are doing what here? Insertion. We are doing insertion here, right? So request dot method equal to what? Post. Then what we have to do? We have to read the data or not? Yes. You have to read the data. Which data you have to read? This data you have to read. And then you have to check this data is valid or invalid. How you check this data is valid or invalid? By storing into form. You have to create one form, right? You have to create one form. Form equal to which form? A register form. And this form you are populating it means you are storing which data? Request dot. Now where it will store all the data in one dictionary. Request object is having one dictionary. If you are sending a data using get, the data gets stored in which dictionary? Get dictionary. If you are sending a data using a post, the data is stored in which dictionary? Post dictionary. See here, post. So whatever data sent by whom? Client to this view, that data you are storing in which form? Registration form. Why you are stored? Why you stored? Why you stored? To to verify this data is correct or not. Form level validations you have done or not? Yes. Then how you check the form level validations? Is it this validations are server side or client side? Server side. You submitted data, right? Then you have to verify this data is valid or not. Then what you have to do? You have to put this data into what? Form. You have to put this data into form and then you have to check is it this data is valid or invalid. Understood? Okay. Yes. Then what you have to do now? Tell me next step. Tell me the next step here. How to check whether it is valid or invalid? You have to call. Very good. Very good. If form dot what is underscore valid. Now is a valid method. Call which method? Tell me here. Is valid method call which methods? Clean methods. It calls which method? Clean method. Clean method. And if the data without any errors, if the data is without any errors, then what will happen? It returns one dictionary. What is that dictionary? Cleaned data. Your form is having one dictionary, right? What dictionary? Cleaned data. That contain which data? Cleaned data means the data without errors. The data without errors, that you call it as which data? Cleaned data. Otherwise your form contain what? Errors. Understood? Right? So form dot is valid. Is valid. What do I have to do now? I just read the name. Okay, I don't do anything. Actually, what we have to do, we have to put inside a database. But here we are not communicating with what? Database. I'm just giving a message at which side? Server side. By reading cleaned username. How to read? Form dot clean cleaned underscore what? Data dot get a. Can you use dot get a? No, yes sir. No, no, yes sir. अभी क्लीन्ड डेटा क्या है वहां पे? डिक्शनरी है? डिक्शनरी और नॉट? Yes, dictionary only, right? How you read data from dictionary? Using key. Using key, right? Dictionary. Dictionary, it is a dictionary, right? Dictionary means how you read the data from dictionary using key. Using key. Using key. Using key. Now dictionary dot. Yes. Dictionary dot get. You can also use dictionary dot get or you use the square brackets and here you can give what? Key. What is a key? What is a key? Uname. Uname. That is your field name or not? Yes. We read the name. After reading the name, what we have to do? We just print this message. Okay, I'm just printing a message by saying name. Okay, name registered. That's all. At which side? Server side. Then after that, I'm sending one blank form. Or I can also give a message. What is that message? I can also give a message. How can you send a response? From DJANGO dot what? HTTP import HTTP response. And here I can write what I can write. So this is the output equal to format name. Okay, this is format name. I just write here H1 is what? Registered. And I just close H1 here and response HTTP response and wrap the output and written what here? Response. When this is form is valid. If the form is not valid, If the form is valid, okay. If the form is not valid, it should render which page? Error page. Error page means the form is sent as it is or not. Yes. Then I'm saying here response equal to render. Render what? A request comma. Request comma. A register dot HTML. Now this is form with which data? Error data. Okay. Same form I'm inserting it. Context form. Okay. FORM, right? Form colon. What is this? Form. Return. What I should return? Response. Understood? This logic you understood? What is say, yes or no? Okay. So if the request method is get, when the request method is get, when you type the URL, when you type the URL within the browser and press enter, that request method is what? Get. Then it will execute which logic? This logic. And after filling the data, when you click on submit, then when you submit, the form is submit using which method? Post method. Then will it execute if logic?